Hello, and welcome to Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea. I'm Gloria.
And I'm Rosetta.
Hi. And in the spirit of love and kindness, we want you to always listen to one another and to be supportive of one another as we present our thoughts to you today. We want you to be kind and supportive of us.
Yay, thanks, Gloria. And let's get going. Oh, before I forget, we have to do our usual.
That's
Don't forget, please, if you like our videos, hit the thumb icon. Please consider subscribing to our channel. We'd love for you to subscribe and hit that bell notification.
Whee!
Okay, the tea that we're drinking today, because we're Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea, is a company called Numi. We have had Numi before many times, and this one in particular is called Purpose, and it's called Mate, with a creamy cacao, vital maca root, and mellow rooibos. And the ingredients here are, let's see where it is. Right here.
Yes.
It says cacao, yerba mate, rooibos, ginger, licorice, my favorite, lemon peel, maca, cardamom, coriander, black pepper. And it says yerba mate is a species of the holy plant traditionally sipped from a hollowed calabash ground. I don't know what that means. Calabash
ground.
No, calabash gourd. It's a gourd.
Oh, okay.
Not ground. It's kind of hard to read here because it's really faint.
They made it more pretty than visible.
Yes, in Central and South America, it has an early flavor and is used by native community. That's what yerba mate is. And it has naturally occurring stimulants and other compounds which can invigorate without jittering side effects. Jittering side effects. The maca is the member of the cruciferous family like broccoli and cabbage and is considered one of the world's natural superfoods. Maca grows high in the mountains of Peru, has a light, fluffy flavor, and is believed to have positive effects on energy levels. So there you have it.
All right.
And we've had it seeping.
For just a little bit, so we might have to let it seep a little bit more. It just depends.
And I smelt it. We both smelt it right before we dunked it in.
Yes.
And I did smell the licorice and a bit of the ginger. So we'll have to see. Don't smell much, but very faint ginger.
Yeah, very faint.
Cheers. Cheers.
Very faint.
Don't taste much. Sorry. Smelt more before it got dunked in, but it's still tasty. It's not. Some don't have taste, but it has kind of like an earthy taste and not that great. But this one has a subtle but pleasant taste, I would say.
I'm gonna let mine.
Yeah, I think I'll let mine seep a bit more.
You know, sometimes they tell us we're supposed to let it seep for 5 minutes, and we let it seep for 2 minutes, and then we were like, "Well, what's wrong with you?" So we're gonna let it seep a little more.
Yes.
All righty. So let's get started. You know, we always begin by sending our thoughts and prayers out to the entire, world, human race, animals, everyone, because we have to learn how to collaborate and live together. We are all of one. And if we could just treat each other with the same level of respect and courtesy that we want others to treat us with, the world might cycle into a better place.
I agree, exactly.
Okay. So, effective Friday, that's the last day that Ryan Seacrest will be on Kelly and Ryan.
Right, okay.
So starting Monday, it will be the Kelly and Mark. So her husband, Mark Consuelos, is joining her show.
And I've actually seen him a few times on the show. We'll have to see. I mean, it's a different vibe than Kelly and Ryan, but let's see.
And there was a time, they had the kids, So if they were talking about something, Kelly might say, well, Lola loves you more than she loves me. There was the stories that they could share. Mark is still an actor, a working actor. So I almost feel like the problem that caused Ryan to leave is going to happen with Mark. Because if he gets a movie.
Well, the thing with Ryan is that he does 101 things. He was
Yes.
doing American Idol. He was doing the Kelly and Ryan show.
Yes.
Then he had his own radio show. And I don't know what else he was doing.
And then he would do different broadcast events where he would be either the anchor or a co-anchor working with someone else. Always working. So I think this is going to work out much better because they're still friends. I mean, each day as it gets close to the end, they're still nice to one another.
Well,
so
that's nice. Well, at least he gave her plenty of warning.
Yes, yes. American Idol. Have you been watching this season of American Idol? I tell you, when the judges could not go down to just 24 and had to do 26 in the top 24, that just tells you what an amazing season it is.
I love it. Usually, like in the past, I know that Katie and Luke and Lionel have been judges for quite a few seasons now.
Yes.
And I like it because it's consistent.
Yes.
Instead of keep switching and swapping out the judges, we get to actually see them and how they've progressed over
and
time.
Learn their process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the past, I've maybe one or two contestants have been standout to me.
Right.
But I'm telling you, this season, there's so many great contestants going through to the top 26.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want, there's more than just a couple that I want to win the season. Know. And the ones that I love that got through to the top 26 are I Am Tongi.
Yes.
The one from, I think he's from Samoa. He
made the judges cry.
Amazing.
He made them cry.
For that, for the last performance, what is the name of it? It's the there's a name for that last performance, and it's called Showstopper. That's what it's called, Showstopper performance.
Yes.
I cannot believe, I forget the song he did, but I just remember the feeling I got.
In the silence.
Yes. The feeling you get when you're listening to that. He changed it, but it wasn't changed up so much that they couldn't recognize it.
Right.
His voice was amazing.
But he put his own flavor.
He can sing anything. I'm telling you, he's one of those people. Then I like Diva Nutsa from Georgia, who sung Proud Mary.
Yes.
She didn't do the typical Proud Mary dance that everyone does. Yes. But she can sing.
Well, she is the person. Remember I was telling you there was this young girl when they were doing the duet.
Yes.
This is the one that went to sleep. She went to sleep on the other girl. So the other girl unfortunately got sent home. And the judges were like, you have to learn and show grace.
Yeah, that's
and she said that, she heard what they were saying and she understood. And she can sing. And I hope once this goes to the public, they're going to be kind to her, because the other girl was going around trying to find somebody to practice with her. So,
well, the other girl said that she was rehearsing, right? But I don't think she was. Her main thing was complaining about how the other person went to sleep.
She left me alone.
That's what she was doing, not rehearsing.
Yes.
And when push comes to shove, I have to admit that she wasn't as good of a singer.
Well, that's why they had to let her go.
Right.
Okay.
And then there was just a few others. I like Tyson Venegas, the Filipino boy that got the platinum card. Then Wiani.
Yes.
And Zachariah Smith. He is the guy that looks like a country guy. He's big and broad. But can he put on a show?
I mean,
he dances and hands up and everything.
Yes.
And that's one to watch.
He's an entertainer. He really is.
I love it. So those are the ones that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing.
And I loved all of those. And then the one other person, his name was Aiton. And Aiton played a piano and he wrote his own music.
Oh, the one with the autism?
Lionel, yes.
Yes.
And, he told the judges, he thanked them for the opportunity to be in a place where people could hear him the way he wanted them to hear him. Lionel was so impressed, even though he's not in the top 24. He says, when you walk out that door, expect a phone call. I want to write a song with
He
you.
did say that.
So
Yes.
this young man, because they all felt that while he's not the performer, he can write music.
His voice is not the best.
And that is what he really wanted to do anyway. And he didn't know, well, how else do you get your songs heard if you don't sing them? So that was
shocking. He got this far, which
Yeah.
is more than a lot of people that are songwriters, right? This
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah, but it was really good.
Yeah, so I'm really, really looking forward to. I look forward every week to watching it. And who do you like?
Yes,
we'd
comment.
love to know. Comment below and let us know.
Yes, because we want to know. As you know, last Friday, Diane Sawyer sat down with Jeremy Renner to have a candid conversation. There was an accident with a snow machine, and what happened is we all knew during the announcement that he had been hurt, that he had been run over, but no one understood why, how did you get underneath it?
Right.
Well, he set the record straight and he let everybody know.
Yeah, and the whole reenactment and the re-encounter of what happened really made sense.
Yes.
And he actually fessed up and said that he was just being a bit silly, a bit stupid, and not being very, not thinking about what he was doing, because he had the machine on, and the reason why he got out of the machine was to see his nephew and make sure that he didn't get stuck under the whatever the snowmobile big machine didn't plow him over.
Yeah.
So he actually did not stop the machine. He left the machine running.
Yes.
And he stepped out, and because the machine was going, it's tracks that keep going around like a 360 keeps churning. He fell off.
Right.
And he tried to get back on, but obviously he couldn't get back on, and the machine kept going and ran him over.
Yeah.
And thank God, because you would have thought that he would have died.
Yeah. And the person who placed the 911 call was like, he's been run over, he's hurt, there's a lot of blood. I mean, and all that white snow, I'm sure that was really, really bad. And, the other blessing is that even though he was silly, I think he learned a very valuable lesson. And the other thing is, by the grace of God, financially, he can afford what it's going to take for him to recover.
That's what I was thinking. He has the capability and the financial means to get all the help he can.
Just a regular person, they wouldn't, he looked pretty dang good to say he'd been run over.
I wouldn't even know if I had not known, and I just met him. I had no clue who he was, any past history. I would have thought just a normal person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he has the financial means, and you're right. A lot of normal people wouldn't be able to be out of job that long.
Yeah.
And be able to pay all the bills.
Yes. And have all that special equipment. I mean, if you saw how he had equipment to just move his body, because
physical therapy.
The one thing that, as you are in situations like that where you find out, oh my God, I have to have surgery, whether you have shoulder, knee, whatever, they have machines, because they don't keep you in the hospital that long anymore. They send home with you to keep that limb moving, so that the scar tissue doesn't build up. And it even though it hurts, the recovery time is less.
And he had someone come to his house.
Yes.
I don't know if it was every day, but quite often. So how many people, normal person can afford that, have the financial means. But it was really nice to see that, and Diane Sawyer going onto the actual site and seeing that snow machine. And the closeness and the family, the support of the family was amazing.
Yes, and how he gave the family a little hand signal that let them know he was okay. So
wow, I loved it. And seeing him with his daughter, it really touched my heart. And we wish you, all the best. Yes. And hopefully you can get back into that shape pre-accident, so you can start shooting movies again. Because we love you.
Yes, I love it. So, next month is the King's Coronation. I can't believe how fast it's approaching.
What is that? May the 6th is coming up. Because we talked about it
Archie's
last week.
birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
Little Archie's birthday.
And we told you last week that the invitation said King Charles and Queen Camilla.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about that because we're thinking it's not, I don't think it should be that she's queen.
Right.
Because we're thinking, well, what, does she deserve it?
Right. Well, and as far as the lineage, if Charles passes,
right,
and does she become queen, or is it still Prince William who goes from father to son for, in the lineage line? I also think a lot of people are going to have a little bitter taste regarding Princess Diana, because this woman who they want to now call queen was actually having a relationship with her husband. And so, yeah, it's his fault. He's the king. Did no one force him to do this? It's just that hierarchy level of
And if Lady Diana was around, she would not hear of it.
Right.
I mean, she would be really, really upset.
Absolutely.
I think so. And then come to find out that for the coronation,
mm-hmm.
Harry and Meghan, it's only going to be Harry that's attending, not Meghan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be
I'm sure it's little Archie's birthday. So Mama's probably going to stay home and do the birthday. And I think, I think what they're trying to do, it's either one of two things. Either only Prince Harry was the invitee. They didn't invite the whole family. Or it was a situation where the mom, Meghan, Duchess Meghan, decided, I'm not going to change my child's big day.
Right. That could have been.
He's at an age now where he will know what a birthday party is.
Right.
And, having that first sugar rush. So it's one way of getting both things done in a timely manner.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish that it's a shame. I mean, it's great and it falls on Archie's birthday, but I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling that there might be no love lost because I don't know if she really cared to go. That's what I'm thinking.
Based on the information that's been shared with the world of how she was treated, why would she want to go?
Right, exactly. So we're going to try our teas. We have it out. Let's smell it again.
Well, it's darker, but...
It's darker. Doesn't smell any different, but drink it and we'll see. I'm
very
getting
mild.
Well, it's mild, and I'm getting, what I'm getting, which is great because that's my favorite.
Licorice.
The licorice.
Yeah.
I like the licorice and a slight hint of ginger. But have you noticed that when you drink teas and when it starts getting colder, more of the flavor comes out?
Absolutely.
So we'll wait and see.
Now we're going to let it cool off a little bit and see.
And more of the flavor might come through.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've had so much to share with you, and I didn't want to bypass the fact that we just concluded March Madness and the NCAA championships occurred. Now, the NCAA women's champion was LSU, Louisiana State University.
Yay! Good for them.
This is their first time, the first time that they have ever won a national title.
That's amazing.
They had to beat out some amazing teams.
Fantastic.
So, yes. And the men was won by the Yukon Huskies from the University of Kentucky. So congratulations to you all. May you have an exceptional, wonderful season as you prepare for the next cycle, because that's right around the corner. So you would have to be under a rock not to say you have felt the effects of inflation. However, have you? How has inflation changed your life? What do you think about inflation? What do you think about the approach to inflation? Comment below.
Inflation, yeah. So this was very slow and gradual, but it really hit all of us right when things were starting to open back up from COVID. And we just realized so many things price-wise have not gone back to how it used to be pre-pandemic.
Right.
The few things that I feel will never go back down is prices when you go out to eat. They've gone up and it's going to stay up, and that's what it is. It's just how it is. I think it's a cycle, because pre-pandemic, you could get a meal, I would say a lunch, let's say lunch. You can get a
Right.
lunch meal for about $13, $14.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now the average when you go out for lunch is about $17, $18, even as high as $20.
Exactly.
What else has gone up? Also, they say groceries. Oh, actually, yeah, it is groceries,
Yeah,
right?
because it's the same thing. 'Cause
Right.
what they're saying is that the source is the prices that they're being charged from the farmers to get the foods to the supermarket or to the restaurants, you know. Now, I have seen some restaurant chains. Remember when we were going through this crazy thing where they wanted, $10 for a dozen eggs, and then it got up to like $13, $14 for a dozen eggs, and we're like, you're on drugs. I'm not paying that for no eggs, but you'd go to the grocery store and the whole egg section would be empty. And then I have a friend, and her husband he's a chef at a restaurant, and his wholesale prices did not change for eggs. So I'm like, okay, so why are our prices changing? So some of this was the evolution of things. There was a bird flu breakout. Now, supposedly it was contained, but what they did is they killed 1 million chickens to stop this condition. And they wanted us all to think that those chickens that they had to lay to rest affected the reason and the price. I still say it is driven more by greed than anything else. One of the things that COVID made crystal clear for me, and it just kind of touches my heart, sadly touches my heart. In the past, when you hear our grandparents and our parents talk about the big recession, even though it was hard times, they collaborated together. The women would get together on Sundays, and they would do like meal preps before they were called meal preps. They would just cook enough food, and then they would break it out so that all the families had food to eat. Everyone worked together. We don't have that sense of collaboration in the world today. It is every person for themselves. And unfortunately, to me, one of the reasons that inflation was doing what it's doing, the fact that the rates are ridiculous, is because we can't get our young people to stop spending money. If you want something to change, you have to cause it to change. I went to a ranch to pick up some eggs, and I walked in there and they were $10.95 a dozen, and I laughed and I left. I didn't go back for about a month and a half, and I just went back and they're $6.75. So you have to, if you want to drive the rate of inflation as far as how much of your money you spend, you have to do that. You cannot keep swiping or tapping and thinking that things are going to change, because as the owner, my job is to make money. And if I say $50 and you tap and you pay, well, let's try 55.
I know. And talking about eggs, Caucasian supermarkets are charging a lot for eggs, but I went to an Asian market. It was several dollars cheaper. I'm like, there you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the same brand, but it was organic.
Yeah.
Organic is organic, right?
Yeah. And I went to the farm where the chickens are, and I know that it is as organic. They're range free, cage free. They just run around.
Pasture raised then.
Yeah. So just because you see something doesn't mean that you have to say, okay, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go for it. No, push back a little bit. I remember one of my dearest girlfriends worked at Macy's, and I saw this sweater, and I love the sweater, and the sweater was like $44. And she told me, she says, you see that snag? She says, all you have to do when you get to the register is say it's damaged material.
Right.
I'd never heard. I was like, what?
And they would reduce it.
Yeah, but I didn't know that, and I didn't believe it. But I did it, and that $44 sweater went to $14. Now, if I had not have said anything, and all I did is I went home and I took a little crochet needle and I tucked it and I pulled it on the inside. So the string was on the inside, but on the outside it looked fine. So sometimes you have to step up and say, that's too much. So we can, drive inflation down, because this is really going to affect our young kids who are I call it the credit card generation, because interest rates on credit cards are going up because of inflation. Mortgages are going, if you don't have a fixed mortgage, you never know month to month how much you're going to pay. So if you want some of this to stop and stabilize, these are the things that we have to work at as a team.
But gas prices,
Yes.
people still need to drive.
Yeah.
So people are still going to be buying gas.
Yeah.
Did you know that gas went down for a little bit?
Yeah.
And now because it's summer, starting to get hot,
Yeah.
people are starting to drive again.
We're
so
going
it's
back
going
over
back
five,
up.
Yeah, over $5 a gallon.
It's
However, there's a thing called gasbuddy.com, GASBUDDY.com. There's some gas station in Cupertino where gas is $4.09 a gallon. And they do this on what is that, CBS News, 7:40 a.m.
Well,
every day.
Yeah, you can. Gas Buddy tells you that, right?
Yeah.
But you can also go on your phone and Google. If you put gas, it'll come up all the local gas stations near you and give you all the prices so you can compare. But a little trick, did you know that if you drive 5 to 10 miles slower, that will increase your fuel economy by 14%?
Yes. Do you remember, older people, young people are like, what? When we had problems with gas prices, they would drop the speed limit from 65 to 55 so that we could increase our fuel usage.
Yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
But see, nowadays
they don't do that.
They're not doing anything to help the consumers because they think that the consumers don't care. We just have a wealth of money. And California being a very rich state, they feel very comfortable raising all kinds of prices on us. I just think we have to slow it down because it's just.
Well, I was liking it that the gas prices were going down.
Yes.
But now I'm used to it. It's going back up, and it was there for a very short amount of time. Yeah. It was like I paid like $4.45.
Yes.
And I thought that was very cheap.
Yes, and we are happy when we get the 4.45s. But and I told my husband, I said, I'm just going to have to change my workflow. No more being in my office 5 days a week, because what I'm doing, there's some days that I don't have to drive.
Right.
I do it because I have the peace and the sanity of my space, but I also have to be cost conscious.
Yeah, and I was driving slower today.
Yes.
And I was on the road.
Yes. So this is, as of April 1st. So this is Autism Awareness Month, and it runs from Saturday, April 1st through Sunday, April 30th. And this is, especially for not just full board autism, but children who are on the spectrum. There's a particular term, I can't think of it now. It just means that they can have a pretty good normal life. So one of the things that BART, our Bay Area Rapid Transportation System, is doing is they're allowing children that are autism on the spectrum, which means they can have a conversation with you, to do the platform announcements. So the arrival of the trains, the departing of the trains, little helpful hints. And they were saying that all of the adults on the platform were like, that's nice.
That's so nice.
Yes.
And I think the term you're thinking of is highly functional.
That's the term.
Highly functional children
Yes.
who are on the spectrum or have autism. Yeah.
Yes. So that is really beautiful, Bart, and we just wanted to recognize you for reaching out and doing something.
I love it.
I love it too. So what do I say here? So we have been spending a lot of time talking about mass shootings. And we have people in government who keep saying guns don't kill people, people kill people. However, if there were no guns, they could not kill people at the rate that they are killing them. So I just want to share something with you about the United States. So just this year, and today is April 12th. Okay, so we're 3.5 months in, pretty much. We have had 131 mass shootings. Last year, around this time, we were at 113, which is still too high. We have 502 people that have been wounded by guns, and 193 people have been killed by guns. And they keep saying, oh, there's nothing we can do, there's nothing we can do. Well, once again, we had a mass shooting at a bank in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, another one. It's like, when these shootings come about, the thing that you're feeling, because we had so many, it's like, another one?
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah.
Another one? It's crazy. And guess what? Again, what is the common denominator of all this? Well, there's two common denominators. One is mental health, but I wouldn't say that's number one. Number two is the AR-15s.
That's right.
AR-15s again.
Yes. Military guns. And, I keep telling everybody, because if anytime I say I want the guns off, well, that's not right. My Second Amendment rights. Your Second Amendment right does not say that you can have a automatic weapon of that magnitude. You can get a gun. Don't nobody care if you have a gun. And, there's no reason for a citizen to have an AR anything, because whatever you shoot with it is unrecognizable.
It's mass destruction. That's
and
what it is. Yeah.
That's where I'm like, oh my God. So
it was crazy, and 5 citizens, innocent citizens from the bank, were killed.
Yes.
And 8 were injured.
Yes. Thomas Elliott is 63 years old. James Tutt, 64. Joshua Baerick was 40. Julianne Farmer was 45. Diana Eckert was 47. Now, I can't remember, and please forgive me because I tried to go back and find it. It was either the mayor or the governor of this town was devastated because he lives in the town. That was his bank. He knew the people inside the bank. One of the bank persons that lost their life was one of his dearest friends. So he wrote a new law that is going to intensify the background checks, because the person who did this had mental issues, was under doctor's care, and bought the gun on April 4th.
Yeah.
So you are mentally challenged and they allow you to buy an AR weapon. That was just, that's what
crazy. And then the other thing, what he did was he live streamed it on Instagram.
Yes.
He told one person prior to that he was going to commit suicide.
Yes.
And then he live streamed it.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to die. And the person's like, no, you got so much more living. No, I'm done. I'm going to die today. It's like, I have nothing to live for. I'm going to die. And that person tried to call the police immediately, to let them know, I don't know where he is. You might be able to find him. He's got his phone with him, anything. And the family, they're just, they're devastated.
Yeah, and this is what the chief of medicine treating the victims,
yes.
He said he wants to call the leaders to do something to curb it against firearms. And he said, this is what the quote, I wrote this down: to be honest with you, we barely have to adjust our operating rooms to do this. That's how frequently we're having to deal with gun violence in our community.
Yeah.
So he's saying that this was nothing new,
right? And
they're prepared for it in their operating rooms because it happens all too often.
Way too often.
So that goes to show that I didn't know in this in this town, Kentucky town, that this was happening.
Yeah, and like he said, what we're doing is not working. This is not working. We have to change. So I have something else I want to lay on you. So there was a new statement that was made by the medical industry based on all of these shootings and all the guns and all the activities. And they said that a 5-year-old child right here today in the world will probably not live beyond the age of 40 due to violence in the world. I want that to resonate around your brain. A 5-year-old child. We have people all around us who are in their 80s, 90s, 100s. And our future is not going to live to be 40. That's traumatic. That's like mind blowing. You know that little meme on your phone where the brain and the cloud, because it's like our most valuable resource is our children. And I don't know how people go home from doing their job of being in our government and say to themselves, today was a great day. I made sure that the AR-15 stayed on the streets of my town. Really? Because the thing that I'm noticing, and it hurts me even more every time I see one of these stories, is the impact is getting closer and closer to government. That's why I'm sad. By next week, I'll tell you who the person was, because he was emotional when he talked about the loss of his friend. And for our children to have to go to school every day and go through mass shooting drills.
Yep.
That's really sad.
Yeah, that is sad, because kids should not have to worry about protecting themselves against mass shooters at school. They're there to learn.
Yes, and
They're
have fun.
To have fun. And the most they should be actually, preventing themselves, like trying to protect themselves from, is earthquakes.
Yes.
Right? That's what we did. We had earthquake drills, and that was it. Not mass shooter gun drills.
Where to go, duck and cover, get into the
under the tables, under the door frames. Pretty crazy.
Sorry, having an allergic reaction. I'm good. So our children are getting tired of this, because our children all across the United States are going to start walking out of schools in protest. They're tired of being shot at. I keep telling government, so I'm going to tell you again, these children are continue to age. Eventually, they will be at the age where they are not going to tolerate this. And you're either going to do something about it, or they are going to vote you out and send you home. Hear our words. It's just a matter of time.
It is. It's very, very sad. I don't know, really. What do you think?
Yeah.
We'd like you to comment below, give us your thoughts, and you know what we think.
Yeah. We really want your opinion on this. So, once again, we have a toxic fire in Indianapolis. Did you see that black smoke?
Oh, yeah. Indiana. It was crazy. A massive fire. And this started from a tractor trailer caught fire nearby. And then it spread to this recycling plant.
Right.
And it caught fire, fueling unknown types of plastics.
Yeah.
And it was massive amounts. It's all toxic.
Told everyone to either get out or stay or shelter within. That's really bad.
I mean, that was not just that was like, I don't even know how long it's going to take for that to actually clear up.
Right.
It seems like it's going to take quite a while before.
Because it has to go out.
Right.
Now, we have plants here in Northern California, and there was a power outages and 2 of the stacks lit on fire. And it was like, oh my God, it's toxic, but it was clear. I mean, what we saw there, that was really bad.
That was bad. I mean, can you imagine like the after effects of how it's going to affect the residents living nearby? What kind of health effects it's going to have on them?
I know.
Long-term health effects. You're going to get people, even the one train that collided.
Right.
And it's causing all these health issues.
Right.
That was very, very quickly after this happened. A lot
Right.
of health issues. I can only imagine what kind of health issues, like, are they going to have to, like, shelter in place for how long?
Right. So, if you have loved ones and, just tell them the most important thing is if they've got those old masks that they were wearing for COVID, if they go outside, put the mask on. It can't hurt. It will not hurt. And it could just save their lungs a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best you can do, right? Unless you just shelter until it's okay to go out again, which
we don't know how long.
We don't know.
That's
question mark as to how long. That's $1 million question. How long will it be until the air is safe enough to go out again?
Absolutely. So, speaking of, the environment and all of that, we've been talking to you about Turkey and Syria and their earthquake, and nothing new came out, so that's why we didn't have anything to share at the beginning of our talk. However, we had a 3.3 earthquake yesterday. Some people felt it, some people didn't. And we're pretty sensitive to earthquakes.
Yeah, I didn't feel it either.
Yeah, it was in Gilroy, Morgan Hill.
Okay, I didn't feel it. You felt it?
There were people in here felt it. I always think the building maintenance is always walking on the roof, so I thought it was just the guy on the roof.
Okay, so if it's that
it was very mild.
Yeah, right.
So we've got our rains. What we're experiencing in Northern California right now is winds and the chill. I mean, we've gone from rainy, and now it's clear, it's sunny, and it looks like typical California day, except it's cold.
It's really cold.
Very cold.
Yeah.
So, we're all going through shifts of things like that with the climate. And one of the most beautiful things in Southern California, drought, and they have all these fields in the mountains. And because nobody's been out there, they are starting to bloom, and they're calling it a super bloom. It is just, if you can just imagine a whole mountainside of yellow and orange and lavender flowers.
Wow.
Just beautiful.
That's things that you only see in like postcards.
Yes.
Picturesque you see in books or in the movies.
Yes. And they were saying how people all over the world are, coming to just be there. And they have like the national park officers are there, and they're like, we hate writing tickets, but if you walk on the flowers, we're going to write you a ticket. So they want them to last as long as possible. So they have trails where people can go and they can walk.
That reminds me of when the tulips are around, right?
Yes.
In Amsterdam, they have the fields of tulips, and then isn't there somewhere in California where the fields of tulips as well?
Well, yes, we have fields of tulips, and then like up in Napa, it's called the mustard season, when the vineyards are all blooming, and people are crazy. I don't know about everybody. Why do you want to walk on them? Doesn't there something in your mind that says if I step on it, it's going to die?
Yeah.
Stand back and appreciate the beauty.
Right.
So we're having some beautiful scenic pictures right now, and I know throughout the United States, because when we have the wind now, it's going to move on to Nevada and Texas, Louisiana, on up to, New York. It's going to shift everything. But right now, most of us are pretty cold.
Yeah.
But I think it's like either 2 days or 3 days from now, it's going to be 80 in Florida again, So the weather patterns are just, so make sure you take care of yourself because the weather, hot, cold, that's when seasonal, like me, allergies or different colds or things like that start happening. So just slow down and take care of yourself. So here in, it's everywhere. In the United States, yesterday, they announced the ending of the COVID-19 guidelines / regiment. So all of the mandates, like if you go to the hospital now, you don't have to wear a mask.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's lots of individual things like that are going on that's changing. Rosetta and I, we were like, okay, what does this mean? Does this mean like if I go to get a COVID vaccine, do I now have to pay for it myself? Whereas in the past, the government.
Right.
So we don't know. If you know, comment below and let us know. And we're just going to keep an eye on it because it's interesting information to share. I know, like back in the past, you could get 4 of those COVID tests, and they didn't cost nothing.
Oh, right. You would do that for free, right? 4 per person.
4 per person. So we don't know. Luckily, by the grace of God, I've never had to, order those. I got some for my mom, but now I'm like, okay, should I order some more?
Well, I ordered some. I ordered some for myself and my husband, so we have 8.
Right.
But then we found to find out that they don't last you forever. They do have expiration dates.
Exactly.
So, but those COVID tests have come in handy because I have used it a few times already.
Well, yeah. If you're not feeling well, that's sort of like our first go-to.
I did it for when I went on vacation, and then when I came back from my cruise, I had to do it. And then when I realized that someone else I was hanging around had COVID, then I tested for that just to make sure that I didn't get it.
Right.
So it's come in handy.
Good. So we don't know what that's going to look like, but we're just going to, kind of keep an eye on it. There was an incident on the, I think it's in Kentucky. I'm not 100%. So we're going to do a little bit more research, but there were 3 individuals that were on the floor of the House of Representatives in this town. And they were in support of the parishioners who put them in office, talking about gun control. They took a vote. The Republicans controlled the House. So they suspended them. There were 3 people, 2 Black/African American men and 1 Caucasian woman. The Caucasian woman was still allowed to keep her seat. The 2 Black men were not. They were suspended. That's going to be a whole big old mess. I can tell you that now. One of them has already been put back in, and then as of Friday, the second one will go up for vote. And we're going to let you know how that all turns out. Because I always thought if I vote my person in, you can't send my person home, because my county, my state, we voted and sent that person. But supposedly they felt comfortable enough to suspend them and take them off the floor.
Okay.
So
odd.
We're going to do a little bit more search on that, because if it is from Kentucky, they should feel really bad, because they were fighting for forms of improving gun control, and they got suspended for doing what I see is their job.
Right. Exactly.
Never a dull moment. That's all I can say. So, we've had a lot of great conversation here today. We are always looking for new topics. We try and accentuate more the positive than just doing the same old, even though I have to admit some days after we do a chat and I'll go home and on the evening news, they'll say tonight's news with Lester Holmes, and they'll talk about the things we've already talked about. Makes it feel good. It's like we're ahead of the crowd.
Yeah, but if you have anything you'd like us to talk about or address, put it in the comments below, and we'd love for you to comment on anything we've chatted about.
Yes.
And just want to remind you, I always used to remind everyone of this, but if you just joined recently, I'd like to say, if you make teas, you sell teas, you have a tea shop in the Bay Area, Gloria and I would love to come and visit or sample your teas. And we will be sharing it in a future chat of ours.
Absolutely. So we feel the love in the room. We send it back to you. We want you all to go out and enjoy your day and have a very, very blessed day.
Yes, we do. And thank you so much. We're Silicon Valley Girls, Chat Over Tea. And oh yes, Gloria's reminding me, don't forget to hit the thumb icon. Love that. And then subscribe to our channel and hit that bell notification.
Yay!
Please subscribe. We'd love you to subscribe.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to say it again. We are Silicon Valley Girls Chat Over Tea.
And remember to always keep smiling.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Till next time.